So Heather and I have gotten insanely into like film photography, lately.
Mhm.
So we took like 20 something rolls of film while we were on our trip.
You said 30 the other week.
Well, we bought 30 something, but
Oh,
we've
okay.
used like 27 rolls so far.
Dang.
But we stopped. We came back down through Heber and stuff. Through Holbrook, and then Heber. So we stopped on the rim at it was like 10 o'clock at night or whatever, and tried a bunch of those like long exposure pictures of the cars on the highway to get like those long streaks of light and stuff.
How'd
So-
that go? Well, I guess
Well, they
I
won't
don't
know until
We
they
won't know
develop the
anything.
film.
We just sent it away today.
That's the only bad thing about that, because back then you had to take the picture and wait to see how it comes out. Now you take the picture and you're looking. Oh fuck, I don't want that. I don't want that shit.
Yeah, well, that's what's fun about it though. Is like the anticipation is fun. Especially when you're doing like experimental stuff. Where you don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to work or not. But so when we were up in Minnesota, one I'm really excited about is Heather. We were staying at the cabin, and it was late one night, and we just got back from our Friday night gig.
Mm-hmm.
So Heather and I went on the right next to the lake on the dock and took a bunch of star pictures. With long exposure, like 4 or 5 minute long exposures. And Heather caught like the biggest frickin' shooting star. Like
Yeah,
in,
you were
in
talking.
frame.
I remember you talking about
And,
that.
yeah,
So
I
you're
can't wait.
hoping that it
I'm
came
hoping
out.
that one came out because that was awesome.
Well,
It
that
was
was-
huge.
That was nuts just being in there, because we had we did a campfire out there too, and we just kept checking out the stars. It was one of the rare nights that we had no cloud coverage, and we saw so many satellites. It was insane.
Did
Yeah.
you see fireflies at all?
Nah, not there. It's
Nah,
too
we didn't
cold.
see any this
It
year.
was like
Oh, it's
60
too cold.
degrees,
Yeah,
65
when
degrees.
They come out when
Yep.
it's pretty warm.
But
yeah.
I've never seen so many satellites.
Yeah, there was
And
a
then
lot.
I saw a pair of them like traveling together,
Yeah.
like trailing each other. It was weird. I've
You
never seen
think
anything
you would
like
see
that.
them out here more than there because there's no trees? Like, if you notice when you go to Michigan, Minnesota, you get off the plane, you don't see the sky so much.
Yeah.
And then when you come to Arizona and you get off the plane, you're like, holy shit, what happened to all the trees?
Yeah, well, you've
'cause
got
it's
the
all
wide open
sky.
space, but
Yeah.
like down here in the valley, there's so much light pollution that
Yeah.
you don't see hardly anything.
I'm sure if we went up to Flagstaff, it'd be a lot better.
Yeah, or even up on the rim, like you can,
Yeah,
you
on
can
the
see a lot
rim.
on the
Oh,
rim.
yeah.
Yeah, Flagstaff has that crazy. Is it Flagstaff, or is it down south that has the U of A observatory that's also
Well-
owned by the Vatican?
Oh, I don't know about that. I know there's an observatory up in Flagstaff.
I think that is that the
I think that's
Lowell
The Lowell Observatory.
Yeah,
I don't
in
think that's the
Flagstaff.
one. I think there is one in Arizona that's owned by U of A and the Vatican.
Well, I'm sure that's true because there's a huge mountain in Tucson, where I think there's an observatory down there. I think you're right about that.
Yeah,
I've
it's owned by
never been there, but
U of A and the Vatican. Seems
Yeah.
kind of interesting. The Vatican would.
it's weird to think that
some
there's
money
a
at that.
giant ass mountain in Tucson that gets snow and stuff. But yeah, you're right about that.
I go down there very little. I'm really bad when it comes to Tucson.
I don't think I've been to Tucson in years.
You're not missing much. I was just there. It's nothing exciting.
Yeah, we went down to
Just as much
Tombstone
traffic.
a few years ago, and that was such a big letdown for me. Like, I did not. I mean, the coolest thing that we did there was going to the bird cage.
Birdcage is cool.
Bird cage was a lot of fun, but everything else was just so touristy. And,
Yeah, it's very touristy down there.
and apparently it wasn't like that a long time ago. But
Well, I remember I went down there as a kid, and like the main street was still dirt, and I think
it still
they,
is.
I
It's
think
still
they,
dirt.
they paved it, didn't they?
I don't think the main street they did. They do have some paved roads like off on the side roads and stuff like that, but the main street, they actually have that closed off. You can't really drive down it.
But I do remember going into the birdcage and like seeing all the bullet holes.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
No, that was awesome. And like just seeing all the different stuff that they had, I don't know how much of that was just, touristy stuff.
Yeah. Hey, so speaking of touristy stuff and like Tombstone related, we stopped at Doc Holliday's.
Oh, you said that, and you said it was
his
quite
grave.
a you
In
said it was
South
quite
Dakota?
a hike.
No, it was in Colorado because right before he died, he died of tuberculosis.
Yep.
He got sent
Yeah.
to
So-
a sanatorium.
Yeah, he went to a sanatorium.
Oh, that's right.
And what's crazy about this place is, so in order to get to the cemetery, you have to hike up this mountain to get to it because they used to bury all their tuberculosis patients high up because they didn't want them to contaminate the
Yep.
town or whatever. In fact, there was like people that died down in the town and they buried them down there and they exhumed them and then moved them because they were
better.
scared of.
Their coffins are made out of just like pine or something like that.
Yeah. But we went and saw his cemetery, and they don't know. There's a memorial there. There's a plot and a big headstone, but they don't know exactly where
They
he's
don't know
buried
if it
in
was
there
actually in
because
there.
all the headstones were wood and they're all deteriorated and gone. But that was pretty cool. Okay, so sorry, that just
That's all
Tombstone
good.
reminded me of that.
Nah, it's cool, man. You said it was quite a hike. You said it was like very steep.
Yeah,
get up there.
it's a mountain, and it's it's one of those towns like in the Rockies.
Yeah.
So it's a hike.
Like,
Cool
is
town.
it a ghost town or is it like an actual city?
No, it's
now?
a city. I mean, I don't know if you call it a city, but it's
or a town.
It's a town.
it's one of them hipster places. There's a lot of
Good
cool
Those
coffee.
pothead
Yeah,
places.
There must have been
good
like
coffee.
20 something coffee places, and no church. It was cool. We stopped there.
That's awesome, man. And you said you checked out like the biggest like wooden watermelon. I don't even know what that means.
Okay. So Heather planned our trip to Minnesota, right? And she did an amazing job. It was awesome. But she picked all these like just things to check out, and one of which was the biggest watermelon in the world.
Eh,
And I was expecting a watermelon.
I was gonna say, is it an actual watermelon?
It wasn't.
Actual
It wasn't. It
watermelon's
was
probably
wood.
rotten
It was
by
like
now.
a big wooden like thing, fake watermelon. And
Yeah. You're like, does that count?
that's not a watermelon. It's like
doesn't count.
It's just,
I
it's
have
wood.
the biggest car in the world, and I just carved it out of a tree.
And that was in Green River, Utah.
You took lots of pictures.
Lots.
I can't wait to see
Well,
this.
I didn't take a whole lot of the watermelon
Oh,
because
come on.
damn.
Yeah, because one's enough.
Right.
We taking pictures. What you say with the cameras that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this was many years ago. I went traveling and went to Mardi Gras, Louisiana, just before
Ooh.
Mardi Gras.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Louisiana and looked at all
Nolans.
the, what do they call them, their homes and the way they live. And if you go through a building and then it's like courtyards.
Courtyards.
Their courtyards, they were beautiful. I took all these pictures. Well, don't ever let anybody load your camera.
Uh-oh.
Because when I got home, some bitch wasn't loaded, and I must have taken.
Sounds like you took
What is
no-
it? 30 pictures on a
Yeah,
roll.
it sounds like you didn't
Yeah.
take any
I
pictures.
didn't get any.
I've done that. I've
Some
done
bitch.
that. I've done
I'm
that.
like,
I witnessed-
that's the only thing that pisses me off with them cameras.
Yeah, I
'cause if you
witnessed
don't load it
Donnie
right-
completely just
Ruin
blow
a
through
roll.
a roll that
Yeah.
he got like no pictures on.
Yeah, it was.
See,
very
that's the only bad
yeah.
thing about it, that you just, you take. And I can't go. I mean, I can go back there, but it ain't the same thing.
And
you
it's
know?
what 30 pictures only, and you have to send it off,
Yeah,
and then
and
not
then-
only do you send it off, but you have to pay to get them. Like,
And then you get them back, and you get nothing.
right. Well, then you get them back, and then like you might have fucked it up or something like that, and you're just like, well,
Oh
Yeah.
hell!
Beautiful.
See, now you just look at them and go, "Oh, I don't like that one."
Right.
Shit,
Oh, that
I don't
was
like
blurry.
That one. That one.
Yeah, but it's not about like the the instant satisfaction. Taking a film picture is it's okay. So I get the same like satisfaction from like using a film camera as I do like recording music. It fulfills that same.
Do you
little
have
bug.
an old movie camera too?
Yeah, I do. But
Ooh.
okay, that's I haven't really gotten into that because that's super expensive right now.
well, you said the Super 8s are.
Yeah, the Super 8s are okay. So you can still buy Super 8 film.
You said that was stupid expensive.
Yeah,
though.
and it's like you get
50 bucks
5
or
minutes
something.
of footage, and it's little under $100 to have it developed. So about 5 minutes for $100. So
Just rock that old
Why
VHS,
it's
dude.
so
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to the
expensive.
VHS.
That's so stupid.
I was gonna have the bazooka.
Kodak
camera.
is actually making a new version of their Super 8 camera.
Really?
Because it's like all the the hipsters, the young kids are getting into that kind of crap, and
them kids.
I have an
Them
old
kids.
one, an old camera that my dad used to take when we were kids. The only thing about my dad, he always cut our heads off.
Wow, it's
Wow,
good
Dad
to see you
must have taken
recovered
that
so well.
picture.
it's a strict family.
All right, man, that is some Catholic guilt right there.
I think he was ashamed of us, so we cut our heads off. Well, those must have been
Catholic
Rose. Those are her shoes. Oh, that's Sarah. Those are her shoes. So
well,
yeah, we knew that.
we,
you know.
will remember you forever with
Yeah.
these pictures of
We
your
always
feet.
knew what pictures my dad took because the heads were all cut off.